All right, good evening, class. I'm sure by now you all have finished your Division 3 video. Just a little bit of a recap. We separated out our footings, our bricks, our CMUs, and our piers, and we calculated our lengths for each. This is listed here. If you do not have these lengths listed for, again, and I'm gonna put it in the right order. This is my F1, B1, and C1. This is my F2, B2, and C2. This is my F3, B3, and C3. This is my F4 and C4. Again, there's no brick on this one right here. Then I have my B5, F5, B5, and C5, my F6, B6, and C6, and then I have my F7, B7, and C7 along this line, okay? And then, like I said, it doesn't really matter how you label your piers. Mine go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If yours go the opposite way, that's completely fine. Doesn't really matter. And again, if you do not have these lengths, then you have calculated something wrong. Division 3, we covered our concrete. We covered our concrete reinforcing, as well as our concrete finishing. Okay, and these are my numbers. If you do not have these numbers for Division 3, then you have done something wrong. Again, I'm just going to flip through here just really quickly, just so that you guys can kind of get an idea of what my calculations kind of look like. And that should have rounded out your Division 3. Moving on to Division 4, the very first thing on our scope of work, it is asking for our brick veneer continuous house. Okay, so according to your section cut, you know that your house height is at 2 feet 8 inches or 2.67 feet. Okay, so obviously that is going to include, now remember, this is just your house. So this is going to include your B1, B2, and B3 lengths, okay? Your B1, B2, and B3 lengths is going to be your house. And then your B1, B5, B7, B6 are going to be your porch for your brick. Again, there is no brick on your F4 and C4 length. It is only 8-inch CMUs, all right? So, same as we did for our practice project, you're just going to take the length, multiply it by the height, get that square footage, and multiply it by 6.7 bricks per square foot, and get that number. You can round it up at the end of these, or you can wait like I did and round it up at the end. That if you do round it up after each individual, then your number might be a little bit higher by 2 or 3, which is fine as long as you're somewhere in this vicinity, and you're off by, I'll say, a max of 5 pieces, then you are on the right track. The next thing that it is asking for is your brick vent subtraction, your brick metal access door subtraction, and your brick HVAC subtraction. So on your takeaway or your help me sheet, it kind of explains to you how to do that, but I'm just going to show you here what my calculations are. So for my brick vent subtraction, I'm going to take away 6 bricks per vent. As I can see on my foundation plan, the vents are specified by the V's. And I have a total of 9 vents. So I'm just going to take 9 times 6 bricks per vent, and I get a total of 54 pieces. Very simple. For my metal access door, it is a 36-inch by 24-inch door. We know we do everything in decimal feet here, so I converted that to 3 feet times 2 feet, got 6 square feet, multiplied it by the 6.7 bricks per square foot, and I got a total of 41 pieces. Did the exact same thing with the brick HVAC duct subtraction. It was a 40-inch by 14-inch, so it was 3.33 feet times 1.17 feet, and that gave me 3.90 square feet. And I multiplied that by my 6.75 bricks per square foot, and I got a total of 27 pieces after I have rounded. I then took my total house calculation, which was my beginning number, subtracted out my excesses, my excess values, excuse me, and I got a new total for my house. Okay, and this is just for the house portion of your set of plans. Okay, we have not calculated our porch yet. Now, with the porch comes an addendum. Okay, and an addendum is an official change to a set of plans. All right, and in this case, this is going to be the first addendum that we are tackling this semester, and it is talking about your brick cap height. Now, I know most of you are like, what the heck is a brick cap height? So if you turn to page 4 of your set of plans, I will show you. So here we are on page 4 of our set of plans. As you can see, I have a nice little drawing here, if it'll focus. This is my roll-off. This is my brick cap, okay? So for my brick cap, I have 2 rows of bricks sitting on top of my 8-inch CMU, okay? That's because my porch is at a different height. My porch is at a height of 3 feet, 5.5 inches. All right, so essentially what you need to do is you need to figure out the height of your brick cap. And in order to do that, I'm not sure if I had or if that is included on your math cheat sheet, but essentially you're going to convert your 3 foot 5.5 inches to 3.46. You are going to subtract out 4 inches because again, that height, 3 feet 5.5 inches, is from the top of your footing to the top of your 4-inch concrete slab. So you want to take away the 4 inches so that you're getting to the top portion of your brick height. But then that's going to give you a total of 3.13 feet. Then you are going to subtract out the 2 foot 6'7" feet, which is the height of your CMU guy here. And that is going to give you a leftover height of 0.46 feet in height, okay? So that is just an FYI tidbit for your brick continuous veneer. But moving forward, because the next thing on your calculation is for your brick veneer continuous. You have your B5, B6, and B7, which gives you your lengths right here. You're going to multiply that by the 3.125, and you're going to get your square footage, and then you're going to multiply it by the bricks per square foot to get your number of pieces. As far as calculating your brick cap addendum, you're going to take your total length, multiply it by your height, get your square footage, multiply it by the bricks per square feet, and then you are going to get your number of pieces. And then at the end of that, you are going to multiply it by 2 because you have 2 rows, 1, 2, side by side, to get your total number of pieces here. Your brick, that was just your cap. Your brick roll lock, you're going to take that same length, and now you're going to multiply it by 4.57 roll locks per square foot. I just made up that terminology. That's not really, the real name for it. But essentially, because your roll locks are shorter, you're going to have less square footage to cover. Or excuse me, larger. So you're going to have less square footage to cover. And that is going to give you your number of pieces. And then it says your total brick veneer continuous. You're just going to take all of your calculations and add them up. And then you're going to get your total brick count from your house and your porch, and you're going to add that to your total. Okay? Very straightforward, very simple, very easy. Nothing too difficult there. All right, circling back to the next thing on your scope of work, that is going to be the exact same process as your bricks, except just like on your practice project, instead of multiplying your heights by the 6.75 bricks per square foot, you're going to multiply by 1.125 CMUs per square foot. Okay, so exact same process. As far as your vents, you're going to subtract out 1 CMU per vent. And then the rest of it is going to be, the exact same. You're going to find your square footage of your metal access door and your HVAC duct, and then multiply it by your CMUs per square foot, and just get that total. However, we do have a CMU wall addendum. So as you can see on your foundation plan, we have these CMU piers essentially all the way around our house. And like I said in an earlier video, we are going to treat this as if this is a continuous CMU wall. So you're going to put addendum number 2, and it is going to say CMU continuous foundation wall, and then the date. And of course, it was said by Miss Perry Graholski, or you can say Miss PG, either one is fine. It just needs to be annotated somewhere on your set of plans so that I know, that that was addendum number 2. Again, your brick cap was addendum number 1. And it is very simple, very easy. And that is going to essentially walk you through the first part of your scope of work. For your piers, you have 7 piers. They are 4 courses high. I think they're 4 courses. I haven't actually looked at the, yeah, okay. I was gonna say, I haven't exactly looked at the wall section in a second. So it is 4 courses high of CMUs, times 7 piers, and you have 28 pieces. Very, very simple. You're gonna add all those up and get your total CMU count. And that essentially answers the first portion of your scope of work. These are my answers. To recap, just the front portion. This is a front and back scope of work, so make sure that you are not filing this division as completed, because there is a backside of this. But these are just kind of my numbers. Again, if your numbers do not match exactly, it is okay. As long as you were off by, we'll say a max of 5 to 7 pieces, then you are okay. Because again, no 2 people round the same. I do check-ins and make sure that you were on the right track and make sure that it just wasn't a miscalculation somewhere. But it is okay to not have the exact same answers. Jumping ahead on the next piece of item on our scope of work, which is your anchor bolts. Okay, that is essentially going to be calculated the exact same way as your grade stakes. Okay, so you're going to have your total length divided by 4 feet on center, get your number of pieces, add 1 to it, get that number of pieces, and then round up to the nearest whole number. Now notice how all of my calculations have 2 decimal places, a unit of measure, all the way across. And then my final answers are boxed. Okay, it is very important that we box those pieces of information. All right, long anchor bolts, those just go on your columns. You need 1 per column. So you're just going to count the number of columns that you have. That should be found on your floor plan or on your elevation plan. Either one, it's totally fine. Then you're going to have your count for your metal access door and your foundation vents and your HVAC duct. Literally need a count, okay? Just because you put it on this sheet, if you don't have it on this sheet, it is considered as wrong, okay? So your audit trail needs to be your backup for your scope of work and vice versa, okay? All right, so then if we flip it, then we have your 12 inches of Duraladder and you have your 8 inches of Duraladder. And the reason for that is because this foundation wall is 4 inches of brick and 8 inches of CMU versus this foundation wall, which is only 8 inches of CMU. Okay, so you have 2 separate pieces of Duraladder that you need to calculate for. I have on my set of plans that my B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, and B7 all require a 12-inch Duraladder construction. So then when I add all those up, I divide it by the 10 pieces, round that up, divide it by the 10 pieces, give it 2 runs, and then I add it up to the nearest whole number. I do the exact same thing with my 8 inches of Duraladder, which should only include my C4, okay, which is this guy right here because it's 8 inches of CMU. And I'm going to get that number and round it up. Now for the more interesting part of your construction portion of your scope of work. This is calculating mortar, sand, and grout, okay? Bear with me here. For your grout CMU cavity calculation, okay, and that is the hollow portion of your CMUs, that is going to come out to 0.139 cubic feet multiplied by 4 courses high, because obviously you can't stop your grout in the center of your foundation wall. It has to go all the way to the bottom and then fill up. Multiply it by the number of anchor bolts, okay? Find your previous number of anchor bolts that you calculated, and that's what you're going to multiply it by, and that is going to give you your total cubic footage of grout. All right, and that is a 1-to-4 ratio. So your grout is all 4 components put together. I'm going to say that again. Your grout is all 4 components put together. We're going to circle back to that. That's going to make sense to you in just a second. For your mortar for brick calculation, for every 9 bags of mortar, you can cover 1,000 bricks. Okay, that is your ratio. For every 9 bags of mortar, you can cover 1,000 bricks. So you're going to take your total brick calculation, your entire total for your house and your porch. You're going to divide that by 1,000 pieces and multiply it by 9 bags, and you are going to get your answer. Okay, it might not be this. It might not be this, but you're going to get your answer. You're then going to take your answer and multiply it by 3, because again, for every one component, you need 3 components, okay? For every 1 component of mortar, you need 3 components of sand. Let me say that again. For every 1 component of mortar, you need 3 components of sand. So this right here, 30.79 in my case, it might not be that for yours, but that is my bag. So then I need to take my number of bags, multiply it by 3 in order to get my cubic feet of sand, okay? For my CMUs, it's a little bit different. For every 3.5 bags of mortar, I can only cover 100 CMUs. So you're going to take your total CMU count, the entirety, divide it by 100, multiply it by the 3.5 bags of mortar, get your total, and then you're going to take your number of bags and you're going to multiply it by 3. Okay? So that should give you your mortar sand for brick, mortar sand for CMU, your mortar sand, and then your mortar for brick, and then your mortar for CMU. All right, you have your total grout calculation already because that was the very first thing that we calculated. It was the 0.139 cubic feet, which in order to get that, I believe that's written in your help me sheet. You're just going to take 4 divided by 12 times 5 divided by 12 times 6 divided by 12. Or it might be, no, excuse me. I said that wrong. 5 divided by 12 times 6 divided by 12 times 8 divided by 12. And that should give you the 0.139 cubic feet. Okay, so that is the actual nominal dimensions of your CMU cavity. Okay. Whew. Excuse me. There's a lot going on today. But that is my total calculation for that. So, because again, I told you in the beginning that your grout calculation was all 4 parts put together, I then need to figure out my mortar for grout and my mortar sand for grout. So I need to take that total portion divided by 4 to get the 1 component, and then I need to take the 1 component and multiply it by 3 in order to get the 3 sand components. Okay, I hope that made a little bit sense. Again, you have your takeoff sheets that I spent a really good time typing out for you all because I'm a little awkward on camera. Bear with me. But yes, again, if you have any other questions or it's just not sticking to you or it just doesn't make any sense, please feel free to shoot me an email. This will pretty much conclude your Division 4 takeoff video. Again, I just breezed through this, very simple, very easy, because you have your in-depth help me sheets to help you calculate for your divisions. Again, that is not to say that I'm just going to leave you high and dry. And there will be times when I do make a mistake or I say something that's not correct, which is why I typed up what you actually need to do just in case. And I also have a physical representation here of what my work is. Again, this is not specific to this project per se, but this is just to help you and guide you on how you're supposed to calculate for your project. Lastly, I just want to leave you with a little bit of tidbit. So this is how I've been organizing my paperwork. Again, once you actually put it inside of your folder that has 3 prongs in the middle, you're going to have a stapler a hole puncher for 3 holes on the sides of these. But I calculated my Division 3 first. So my scope of work came, followed by my audit trail. I have my header on each one with a page number. Oop, that's actually out of order. This one should go first, right behind my scope of work. The next sheet right behind my scope of work. Then I have my Division 4 scope of work. There's a front and a back again. And then I have my pages for my audit trail. Again, that was out of order. I don't know why I keep doing that. And I just flip in the exact same order that I calculated my scope of work. My audit trail follows, okay? I'm not having to figure out what comes next or where my next calculation is, because everything has a header. Everything follows my scope of work entirely. And it's nice, clean, concise, organized. There's no pizza marks. There's no soda cans. There's no rips, tears, any of that. Make sure that you are taking pride in your final project, because it will need to be turned in for a grade. But other than that, I look forward to seeing you all for the next video.